what about you? Has your kids had anything phenomenal go on? Yeah, give us a
Um,
story.
I know. Give us a story. I have kids. My younger son is definitely more interested in maintaining that level of awareness throughout his life. And my middle son is more in that period of just being a body and developing the ego and really being here, which I think is great because as a being, he's very big and out there. I think it's helpful that right now he's just focused on like the physical and being here. But what I noticed the most about their psychic awareness is that they communicate telepathically all the time and don't notice. Like, for example, my son will respond to me without speaking out loud. If I ask a question, he'll respond and I'll get his answer, but I'll be like, could you say it out loud? Because not everyone, with me, I get it. Like, I understand that you responded, but for most people out there, they're going to think you're just ignoring them, right? Like, it will just look like he's ignoring you, but he's responding telepathically. And then I'll point that out and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, sorry." So he's aware that he's very telepathic, but it's more of like pointing out to him like it's helpful to be aware of that telepathy, and if someone isn't tuned into that, they're going to think you're just ignoring them because you're not speaking out loud. So that happens a lot, especially with my middle son. My younger one, he's 10, we're still very attuned on that telepathic level, but he's a communicator, a talker as well. So my middle son, who's very quiet, is still very telepathic because it's easier for him. He doesn't really want to talk. But my younger son's very talkative, so he's still aware of the telepathic part, but very talkative. And I would say the most I noticed about his spiritual awareness just comes through in the dreams he shares with me, which I think on some levels they're more astral experiences. I differentiate astral experiences from dreams in that astral experiences, you're remembering where you went while your body was asleep, where you as a
Hmm.
soul went and what you're experiencing, whereas dreams are more like the mental clearing the catch, in the mental. It's like filtering out all the images that were stored there. And it looks to me like he went to a place where there was like some conflict, some war,
Hmm.
some pretty heavy human experience happening somewhere on the planet, and he was observing that, maybe just being present on some healing level. And then he'll share that with me. What he remembers is the images he saw, right, of pretty intense war or people suffering. Sometimes it looks like he's hanging around refugee camps, places where there's a lot of
Hmm.
displaced people. And he'll say, everyone was really sad and there was a lot of suffering. And for him, it's a scary dream. And I'm like, I think you were visiting places where people just needed a loving presence, a hello to spirit and to healing. So that's what I remember. My oldest son, I raised him just communicating about spiritual tools and teaching, and I wasn't sure if he was picking up on any of it. I always thought, well, maybe he's getting this. I don't know. And then one day when he was about 17, he came home and he shared with me that he had been getting a ride home with his friend's mother. And he said, I don't know what was going on with her, but something wasn't right. She might have been drinking or on some drugs or something. And so he could tell that it wasn't a safe situation, that she wasn't really present enough to drive properly. He's like, yeah, I'm really glad I made it home. I don't know what was going on. And I said, well, what did you do? And he said, oh, I just grounded her and I grounded the car and I just grounded my way home.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, you did learn something. I hadn't heard him speak to any of the awareness tools before. And he does occasionally, but for him, the way that he communicated was just, well, of course I just did that. Like it was just totally,
Yeah, it makes
no effort,
sense.
no thought. It's like, well, of course
Which
I just
it
did that.
does. It
Right.
just makes sense. It's
Right. It
practical.
was just like, of
Yeah.
course I just did that. And I was like, yeah, of course you did.